What's up, everybody? Soon as you all give me the go ahead, which I think we are good, we'll go ahead and get started. I think we're good. YouTube, are y'all seeing me okay? Okay, looks like everybody's good on YouTube. You all know the deal, people. If you don't mind sharing this video, I would greatly appreciate it. Share it far and wide because we're about to get, it's about to be fun. Yeah, I know why I'm smiling. All right. All right, party people. As you all know, we have had some really a bomb drop on us over the last couple of days. It was an article on January 4th by the Hill of all media companies that said that the FBI has launched a new investigation into the Clinton Foundation. Ooh. My singing voice isn't quite as good as it normally is, but hey, like I said, I just got over I'm pretty sure I had pneumonia, but I'm still getting over my cold, but I cannot wait anymore to do a video about this. I was getting really antsy, and you all know I don't like being away from you all for too long. But I digress. Now, as I was feeling sick, you can imagine how much this made me feel a little bit better. Just a little bit. Made me smile a little bit as I was coughing up my lungs, because this is real. This is palpable. This is not like, obviously the conclusion of the verdict is not concrete, but this, what it means to the Clintons, what it means to the Clinton Foundation, what it could possibly do to restore some type of faith in our justice system in regards to how it treats elites overall, is huge. It's real, and surprisingly enough, it's being done the right way, in my personal and humble opinion. Just wow, right? Like, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. And if you don't know, I'm referring to the article that said that the FBI launched a new investigation to the Clinton Foundation in the Hill, where it says the Justice Department has launched this new inquiry into whether or not the Clinton Foundation engaged in any pay-to-play politics or other illegal activities while Hillary Clinton served as Secretary of State. Now, law enforcement officials and a witness tells the Hill that the FBI agents from Little Rock, where the foundation was started, have actually taken the lead in the investigation and have interviewed at least one witness in the last month. Now, that is actually really good. Now, at the end of the day, like, we know which administration the FBI is under, but this is really good for two reasons. If we're looking for objectivity, or at least, yeah, objectivity, I would say, it's good that we don't have FBI agents that are working directly under Trump, that have to report directly to Trump, because we do want to have objectivity. If she didn't, and if the Clinton Foundation didn't commit any pay-to-play activities, which they did, I mean, I don't have to be an FBI agent to see that, neither do you, but if they didn't, or if there's some extenuating circumstances that we don't know about, I think that it would actually be good for us to have objectivity to see that maybe we have all just been totally misled by all the facts. But it's true. The only way we're going to be able to get that is if we have agents that are not directly reporting to Trump and worried about losing their jobs if they don't do as he asks. So that's a good thing. But also on the other side of that foot, you don't have people relying on their jobs, which is kind of, obviously James Comey had to deal with the email situation because it was dealing with the State Department directly. and it wasn't like the Clinton Foundation situation. The Clinton Foundation, you can go through Little Rock because that's where the Clinton Foundation is incorporated in. That's where they're branded in. That's where they started at. So you can actually not, you can have the federal side, even though it's obviously the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but you can leave Washington for the most part out of it in order to kind of keep people from job seeking. You're never going to mitigate that reality in its totality, but in this particular scenario, you're doing really the best job that you can. So I'm glad that they're having the Little Rock FBI office take care of this. Now, it said that the officials who only spoke on condition of anonymity said that the probe is examining whether or not the Clintons promised or performed any policy favors in return for large S to their charitable efforts, or whether donors made commitments of donations in hopes for securing government outcomes. Like I said, I don't think that literally I was going to do a list of all the ways that they've done so in the past, and I said I really don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to sit down and do a list of all the things that we've covered in the past, but I will, however, post several links to several of the videos I did covering all the different ways that the Clinton Foundation that I've discovered that they conducted pay-to-play, quid pro quo behavior. The probe may also examine whether any tax-exempt assets were converted for personal or political use, and whether the foundation complied with applicable tax laws. So let's just take a safe bet and say, no, they absolutely did not. And there's always an ongoing joke amongst political circles where people say, the Clintons are only worth $80 million. Do you really believe that the Clintons are worth $80 million? One thing that you all have to understand about their nonprofit, they can literally raise unlimited amounts of money. And for all intents and purposes, all of the money that they raise belongs to the Clintons. So for all of the people who are just, Trump's kids shouldn't be sitting at the at the board of his businesses. They shouldn't be taking over his businesses while he's president, which I agree with, by the way. They shouldn't be, Trump should not be able to profit. And people who are just, he's destroying the institutions that we've put in place and or have been stable over the last few decades. No, he's not. What do you mean? He literally looked at Hillary Clinton's playbook and said, you know what? That's a damn good idea. I'm probably going to do the same thing. That's exactly what happened. Because guess who was primarily one of the primary people in charge of the Clinton Foundation after Hillary Clinton left? Chelsea. You don't think that's a little problematic? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Guess who was also still very much so in charge of the Clinton Foundation? Bill. There was a hefty donation to the Clinton Foundation made during the whole Uranium One situation after Bill Clinton decided to go speak in Russia. Understand, everything that you're seeing Trump do, the little things that you all don't like, obviously the big things that people don't like, but the little things that you all don't like about Trump and how he's conducting his business as a president, Hillary Clinton literally wrote the playbook for Trump's success in getting away with a lot of these corrupt business practices as president. He was not the first one to do this. Hillary Clinton did it and was just really bad about it and got caught. Or at least she got caught and never got held accountable for it, but now it looks like she is going to. But one witness, good news for us, one witness did say that the FBI described the session, or that they described their session with the FBI as extremely professional and unquestionably thorough. Now, if this was a person who was going on record with their name, I wouldn't really put much stock into that, because you're not going to admit that the FBI was lackadaisical in the way they went about interviewing you. But with anonymity, you have nothing to lose. If they were BSing, I think that You could tell. But this is the Hill, so I don't want to put too much stock into that either, because they might just be putting that in there and omitting other anonymous people, anonymous witnesses who probably may have felt otherwise, or possibly could have felt otherwise. I don't personally think that we should put too much stock in either side until we get a conclusion. But it is good. It is good that they're called, that they were thorough, because before the email scandal popped off with James Comey, we didn't know if they were being thorough or not. We didn't find out how half-assed they conducted that investigation until after the investigation was over and there was no indictment for the charges that she clearly committed. So Clinton's chief spokesperson, Nick Merrill, said on Friday morning that this probe is disgraceful and was suggesting that it was nothing more than a political distraction from President Trump's Russia controversies. Do you all know the irony in that statement? For those of you who have watched me time and time again in the past, what have I told you all? What have I always mentioned when I speak about this, really Trump and Hillary specifically? I always talk about the fact that Trump and Hillary specifically, and that whole camp, use the Trump-Russia situation to distract from the real crimes being committed by the Clintons, the Clinton Foundation, the quid pro quo behavior by those who align themselves with the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation, like your Tony and John Podestas, like Obama in certain scenarios, like Tardu and Trudeau, and with his partial involvement with the Clinton Foundation. I mean, the quid pro quo behavior with the Clinton Foundation goes all the way from the international level to your local levels of government, with like Patsy Keever in North Carolina, and I mean, like, the list goes on, or to Haiti with Klaus Eberwein, or Eberwein, who was murdered, or who committed suicide, with after he was about to go to trial to argue against the Clinton Foundation and expose them. Like, everything about Russia is literally a distraction. That entire story was fabricated. As we've been told, this has been verified. We know that the New York Times story was indeed fake. It was retracted. That was the story that started all of this. People, you got to remember, first, there was absolutely no leg to stand on with the Russia story at all whatsoever. So then it went from no leg to stand on. So they had to come up with something. They said these two anonymous sources, so that they're kind of absolutely sure that Russia was somewhat involved, maybe, possibly. At some point, they tried to commit election fraud, probably. The odds are that at some point probably was true. But then they were like, okay, that's not good enough. Let's get more specific. So then, when that didn't work, what they said was, hey, we got to do something a little bit more. Hey, somebody call the New York Times and tell them 17 Russian agencies, 17 intelligence agencies all agree on the same thing. Go ahead and tell them that. What if they ask who said that that was true? Just tell them somebody smart said it and didn't say it was an anonymous source. Because that's what happened. And then that was the leg that the entire Russia story had been standing on, if y'all don't remember. Everything about that Russia story was literally compounded on the fact that at least at the very minimum, they agreed that 17 agencies all agreed that Russia was involved. And that story was retracted. Why? Because that story turned out to be totally false. Or did we forget? CNN had to retract a few stories. Recently, ABC News had to retract the story. There may be a Trump-Russia story, business-wise, but it has nothing to do with politics, I assure you. the convenience of the story makes no sense. Makes no sense. So the fact that Nick Merrill would have the audacity, which it's a strategy, I'm not stupid, but the fact that he would still have the audacity to insult our intelligence, to insult your intelligence, and try to claim, oh, this is just a big distraction from Russia. So hold up. The story with where we have literally all the proof in the world, right? All the proof. God, since before Hillary Clinton even stepped into office. I know I can hear I'm still a little sick. It's fine. But the story where we have all the proof in the world, at minimum, create an indictment. At very bare minimum. That's a distraction from the Russia story that literally is totally fabricated, that we've still found zero proof on, even though you have literally been investigating for over a year now. That's the distraction. Well, I'm curious if this is a distraction. We need more distractions like this in politics. I am perfectly for these type of distractions going forward. I know you all probably agree with me. These distractions are dope. I love these distractions. Now, Craig, who is the spokesperson for the Craig Minassian, said that time after time, the Clinton Foundation has been subjected to politically motivated allegations. And time after time, these allegations have been proven false. Well, since when? Yeah, they've been subjected, but never officially, not in the court of law. Matter of fact, where he says, what's so crazy about that statement, he says time after time they've been subjected to allegations. And then what happens is, time after time, everyone who's about to testify against y'all come up missing. Call it what you want to. You can say they came up missing because they just all happened to become suicidal, like all their girlfriends and boyfriends or husbands and wives break up with them last minute. They all lose their favorite job or their favorite puppy, and they all become suicidal literally the last minute before they're about to testify against you all. Call it what you want to. But let's not pretend like you all have actually proven the allegations false, because that's not true either. You don't even have to believe that they had anything to do with their death, that the Clinton Foundation had anything to do with their death. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that they have categorically proven everything false. No one ever gets the chance to testify against you. The people who can do the damage, the people who are closest to the Clinton Foundation, never actually get the opportunity to testify. That in itself is an indictment in some way, form, or fashion. Because if I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm calling everybody, hey, come to my rescue. Come to my rescue. Everybody, hey, you, come talk to me. Hey, because if somebody's making up a story, all the other people who have the same story as I do will exonerate me. And if you're going to make up that story in a court of law, you better have some legitimate proof, because, hell, as we all know, in politics, character witnesses don't really mean shit. All of y'all liars. You're politicians. I don't believe none of y'all. But if you're going to say something like with the Clinton Foundation, for example, where you can have on paper physical proof that I did not do something wrong, then bring it on. You're not going to see any of my witnesses come up missing. That's for damn sure. I need all my witnesses there if I'm innocent. With every time Clinton Foundation, like with Klaus Obervin, who committed suicide in Miami right before he's about to testify in Haiti, the other gentleman who was about to, man, I cannot remember his name. He's an ambassador who dropped a weight on his neck before he was about to testify, involving the Clinton Foundation. Same scenario. The doctor who was about to release his, not the doctor, the guy who died across the street from Mayo Clinic. Remember that? Same scenario. He's about to release his investigation about the Clinton Foundation. Everybody who doesn't like y'all and can do something about it comes up missing. And I'm supposed to just take this statement from their spokesperson on face value. Hey, we've always proved them wrong. No, you were right time and time again. there have been allegations against the Clinton Foundation, and time again, every time we try to resolve those allegations, the person comes up missing, people. I'm not telling you what to think, but common sense, right? Common sense. Now, the Wall Street Journal reported that late last year, several FBI field offices, including the one in Little Rock, had been collecting information on the Clinton Foundation for more than a year. The report also said there had been pushback to the FBI from the Justice Department. Now, it just got a little interesting. That's one of my favorite parts of the article. Did y'all hear that, people? The FBI, which, by the way, Mueller actually doesn't have any control over the whole FBI. He's just in charge of the Russia stuff. The FBI had already, for over the course of the year, started gathering information regarding the Clinton Foundation. This doesn't seem to be retaliation. Now, did they do this under the mandate of excuse me, did they do this under the mandate of President Trump? I don't think so. The FBI is supposed to be independent. It's almost like a check. You know how obviously the government is supposed to be made up of checks and balances. This is a check and balance for all the different sides of the government, which is also why the FBI has so many different levels of offices, which is good. But I truly believe that, and this actually coincides to what I wish I could remember his name, but he's a person who used to work for the Clintons, used to work in the Clinton administration. Then he worked in the Bush administration. If you all remember his name, kindly remind me and remind the people on YouTube. But this gentleman was talking about the FBI as a whole were not happy with James Comey, how he handled that Clinton investigation. They believe that James Comey made a mockery of the intelligence agency and the intelligence world, and they wanted to bring down the Clintons for quite some time. So that just kind of, in my opinion, re-verifies and reaffirms that point. But I would say even more so, this is why Trump wanted to fire at the beginning of the year, or excuse me, the middle of last year, Jeff Sessions. This is why, people. Because Jeff Sessions tried to interrupt this investigation. Although, when Trump hired Jeff Sessions, he hired him, he was not very shy. He wasn't shy about it, let's be honest. He was like, yo, you're going to prosecute this woman, goddammit. Or at least you're going to attempt to, because she's clearly guilty. And justice needs to be served. And I don't agree with Trump on a lot. But this matter, I absolutely agree with him on. And a lot of people have pointed out that there have been a lot of different people who are saying that Trump has so many problems that can be brought against him that now there are people within the government who are using him. Because the intelligence community should be a little bit more scared of. The politicians are scary, but the intelligence community, I assure you, can be much more scary. They know what drawers you wore last night. They're serious. Okay? They know what YouTube video you watched last. They know when the last time you went on Pornhub. They know everything. You know, all your little nasty fetishes, all the things you be doing with your little girlfriends behind clothes, or boyfriends or girlfriends, whatever y'all be doing. Y'all do some nasty stuff. I know how y'all get down. But they know. Those are the people you got to be scared of. And Donald Trump knows that. You ain't got to tell him nothing slick. You ain't got. My brother always says, you ain't told nothing slick to a can of oil. Trump, as much as he knows how to get in trouble, he's made his living staying out of trouble, and he is not about to start today. I promise you. So that means Jeff Sessions was going out of his way to try and block this guy. Block the FBI, block the intelligence community. That's a big deal. And everybody thought that, oh, Trump is being petty because he's not, because he just wants his way and he wants Clinton this and it's distraction. No, the FBI on its own, according to everything that we're reading here, because trust me, if there was some link, because this is the Hill, people, if there was actually a link between Donald Trump and the FBI, and Donald Trump specifically telling someone in the FBI who was under Comey, who was pissed at Trump, supposedly, for firing Comey, the FBI who was loyal to Mueller, the FBI this FBI supposedly doesn't like Trump, but they're conducting this investigation, and Trump stepped in because Jeff Sessions tried to obstruct this investigation. At that point, like it or not, you have to commend Trump for allowing justice to take place. Unlike what Obama did, where essentially James Comey obstructed justice and got to walk free. Because that is what I would call, if it had come out into fruition, quid pro quo. James Comey did not want to lose his job. James Comey wanted to be in the Clinton camp. He wanted to be in the Clinton he does have ties to the Clinton Foundation, but more importantly, I think he wanted to keep his spot in the FBI. And he knew, or he thought, that if Trump won, then perhaps, because this is before, think about this. This is before the Russia stuff. It was like, this was still like maybe some leak stuff and like maybe one Russian hacker. But at that time, Hillary Clinton was a shoo-in. Donald Trump was James Comey had no idea. Because even if Donald Trump won, we don't even know if he's going to win in 2020. And that creates more instability for James Comey. So he was clearly being selfish in his thought process. But I just don't think that he thought this through. Because I feel like there was a lot of switching back and forth. But, that's a big deal. That is a big deal, people. So, hey, I don't say this a lot, but hey, shout out to Trump, man. I'm glad you brought the hammer down in the face of criticism. Whenever, and I don't know if a lot of y'all remember that, but I do remember because I did a video on it. It was like, Sessions, you will absolutely do the job that you were hired to do. Because he's not competent. This literally was the only thing he was hired for. Now I'm scared that it won't get done because of how incompetent Jeff Sessions really is. It's not an act. He's not joking. If you've ever looked at any of his the dude is a dummy. He's stupid. Like, he's not stupid for a Republican or stupid for a Democrat. He's just really not a smart person. I always tell you people, you already know how I feel about politics and getting rich. You don't have to be smart or intelligent to get rich. You don't have to be smart or intelligent to become the president of the United States of America. You just have to be corrupt enough. Okay? So, but essentially, officials also said that whether there are any unresolved issues from the closed case into Clinton's transmissions of classified information through her personal email server, former FBI James Comey in 2016 concluded it was extremely careless in handling the classified information and that there was some evidence of legal violations, which is weird because he didn't recommend indicting her or any of those legal violations. But he declined to recommend charges on the grounds that he could not prove Clinton and her aides intended to break the law. Shout out to all my brothers in jail who didn't intend on breaking the law. Shout out to all of y'all who got speeding tickets, even though you didn't intend to speed. I'm sure all of you all got off of those speeding tickets quickly when you just went to the judge and reasoned with him and said, hey, Your Honor, my foot was a little heavy that morning. I had an extra bite to eat. I didn't realize that my foot was an extra gram. It was a milligram heavier than what I was used to, and I did 76 instead of 75. So I'm sure that we can both look the other way on this because I didn't intend to speed, Your Honor. Kill me, like blow me, like that. No, no, it doesn't work like that, right? It doesn't work like that. So Um, they are reopening up the Clinton email investigation, or it actually has been opened up already. And first of all, let me say something really fast. Shout out to H.A. Goodman if you do not follow him. I have been saying it, but no one has been saying this more than H.A. Goodman. He has been saying this for over a year, that the FBI is continuing and will continue to investigate Hillary Clinton, that they are still investigating her emails, that this is not done, that Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation will not get off scot-free. He has been saying this for quite some time. And look what happened. So, shout out to my good friend H.A. Goodman. Way to, I love H.A., but H.A. is definitely like the Skip Bayless of politics and political commentary sometimes. If you watch sports, you'll get that reference. But it's hilarious, though, because he likes pissing people off. But that's neither here nor there. But he was accurate, though. He stuck to his guns, and he said he looked at all the information that he had provided to him, and he drew the conclusion that this was happening, and it was. Another friend of mine, if she's watching right now, Beth Lamb, actually drew a very similar conclusion based off of what we know about how military investigations go. About her very limited access to the television screen, how she's not been allowed to leave the country, how she's been, she even actually mentioned the fact that we hadn't been able to see her ankles, and like, people were mentioning the brace on her leg. And if this investigation is true, which it looks like it has been going on, what would you do if you were in the federal investigation was about to go public? Oh, I don't know. Light my house on fire? Oh, maybe. I don't know. Possibly. Just maybe. Would you light your house on fire? That's like the most non-subtle way. That's the most non-subtle way to tell everybody, look, I'm guilty, but they're not catching me today. Like, that's pretty much what she did. I'm about to go through some of the comments before I go. Hey, shout out to Bramsley 1. Thank you very much for the super chat. By the way, if you're on YouTube, feel free to leave a super chat. It's always welcome. $1, $2, whatever. Or donate to the One Follow $1 campaign on Patreon. The link is in the bio. He said that he's glad I'm feeling better. Oh man, thank you. I appreciate that. He said to please give me some good news. I hope I delivered on that. Tabitha Enriquez said, do you think that RussiaGate BS is an excuse for military plans? I actually think that it coincides with something that the Obama and Clinton administration and the Western political world, as in the UN for the most part, and NATO, were planning on doing with Russia, because I believe Putin has been widely known as the anti-global agenda person, which I'm for the most part okay with. I am on record saying I am okay with globalism culturally, as in I love seeing the spreading of culture, partially economics, this much politics, because when politics and economics start overshadowing the cultural spreading, or the cultural side of the spreading of globalism, then you know what it's for. And it's usually used against us. Like with the Paris Accords, that was not a good thing. It wasn't. It was another way for elites to suck us dry, using somewhat falsified information. Not totally falsified information, but somewhat falsified information. So like, I think that you're correct, that it was a distraction to distract away from the Clinton Foundation, because the Clintons already, because there was no coincidence that they used Russia specifically. There was a reason behind that. And it does, I believe, tie into a larger initiative to try and take Russia out of the picture long term. Does anybody else have any questions for me? Oh, Gorazd, now I'm going to try to pronounce your last name. No offense. I try not to butcher people's names that I can't pronounce, but I'll try the first name. You know that it had to be a purge within the FBI for them to move against the Clintons. Trump and Sessions did that. I don't believe Sessions had anything to do with that. In fact, I think it's almost the opposite. Like I said earlier, and I'll elaborate a little bit more in another video, Sessions pushed back against the FBI investigating into the Clinton Foundation. And it has been said time and time again before the elections finally went down, there are many people within the CIA and the FBI who strongly disliked Comey and was actually actively condemning him during the Clinton email scandal. And it just never leaked out until after the charges weren't recommended after the investigation finished up. So I don't think that. I think that Trump possibly purged some people. But I damn sure Sessions is establishment people. Let's not ever forget that. He is one of them. Trump almost fired him for being too establishment, for not doing his job. So I think that's important to remember. Bram Sleet once said Paris Accords weren't to benefit the environment. If they were, then they should have included protections for our rainforests. Ding, ding, ding. This guy is on it. I like Bram Sleet. He's on it. The Amazons are being utterly destroyed right now. They're going to and I was saying almost 20 to 25 years, they're not going to be any more Amazons. In Brazil, and I think they're in Peru, Brazil, and maybe one other place that I'm missing that the Amazons are a part of. Primarily in Brazil, though. But yeah, they're not protecting. The elitists and the globalists don't want you protecting Brazil. They don't want you to protect the Amazons. They like to extort countries like Brazil, Venezuela, and those type of areas. That's why they continue to destabilize them. Stephen Boxley, you're dead on. You're dead on it, pal. I really enjoy your channel. Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate that. Don't worry, people. Don't. Oh man, that's a different conversation for a different day. Do I believe Sessions' attack on pot will work? I'm going to discuss that. Another time. Temporarily. I'll give you my answer. Temporarily, but money always wins. It'll work until the elites find a way to make it so that poor people can profit more than they can. Because right now, they have no idea how to control it. Because, see, in Maryland, I'm not joking. And like I said, I know I have some people who don't believe racism still exists on my channel, and that's your prerogative. You know, I don't feel like that. This is a cap on my tooth for when 6 cops jumped me for splitting up someone else's fight between 2 white guys. So, yeah, it's real. But in Maryland, they actually Jared actually is in the middle of working on a lawsuit. I don't know how far along they are, but it's against the state of Maryland because they're forbidding any rich people of color from obtaining their license to grow in that state. And with it's totally arbitrary. There's no actual reason as to why they're denying them. But their rich white male counterparts and their corporate counterparts have been legally authorized to do so. And so you can do that in a state like Maryland. However, in Colorado, where it's totally legal, in California, where it's totally legal, and even in Michigan, where it's at least minimum legal to grow, in Nevada, I think they're working on it as well. You can't stop people who have had inheritance, who have been saving up, waiting for this moment, because there are so many people, more than you probably can imagine, who have been waiting for this moment, that they couldn't stop those people, because you can't just jail white people like you can jail black people. I'm just being real. This is what the statistics say. There's a reason that 93% of the prisons are filled with us. We're a little bit easier to jail. We don't have as many family members with money and connections to come to our aid in our time of need. Let's be honest. LeBron isn't going to come and bail me out. So, one more question. Let's see. So, if you look on Google, this is from Elephants on Coke. That's a funny name. If you look on Google's news aggregate, it's all about Trump not being fit for office. That is not news. That is an opinion. Nothing about an investigation being reopened. It's very true. It's very true. Because let me help you understand something. I actually would tend to agree that I don't think, and this is not even like on a personal level. This is on a reality level. I don't think Trump is mentally fit for office. I looked at his Twitter the other day, and it legitimately left me scared. Mostly for him. Like, bro, if this is too stressful for you, get out. I don't like Trump personally. I think he's like, he says racist stuff, and that's really important. But I actually think the really big deal for Trump, the thing about it pissed me off. He's like that irritating older white guy from New York who just has an opinion about everything. And you sit beside him on the subway, and you're like, bro, just shut up. Like, and he just thinks you should listen to me because I'm old. Like, and it's everything coming out of his mouth. Half is racist, half is sexist, half is just ignorant as hell. Like, that's what Trump reminds me of. But from a legitimate, like, psychological, the dude is, Trump is, something's not right. Like, and I think it could have something to do with his age, because if you hear how he spoke when he was young versus how he is speaking now, if it's called phonic awareness. The way he uses his words in the context that he uses them in, his syntax, like all those factors, there's something off about it. In the way his actions don't make sense sometimes. But with that being said, you are correct. That is an opinion. I probably would not necessarily do a whole video on it. If I did, I would mention it. But for a major news conglomerate to only discuss this and pretend like he's not doing something right by having the Clinton Foundation investigated is a travesty. It's not news. I totally agree with you on that. It is not news, because you are correct. If you want to write one piece on it, and I don't want to hear it from a news pundit. What I want to see is a psychiatrist who may have like some journal connections, which is possible. It happens quite frequently. And if they want to render their professional opinion in a peer-reviewed type of situation, like I'm sure some people did with FDR when he became sick. Like, I'm sure there were doctors who were writing articles like, yo, I think there's something wrong with FDR, man. That's fine with me. But don't just, they're using it as a tool for distraction. I totally agree with you on that. So with that being said, I'm going to take a little break, and then I will be right back with another video. So if I don't see you in the next 10 minutes, always remember, people, well, first, like, subscribe if you haven't. Donate to that one follow $1 campaign by clicking on the description, or click on the link in the description below. Join the mailing list. We don't have enough people yet. That's the only reason why I haven't sent out the emails yet. But once we get 100 people on the mailing list, that's when I'm going to start. But with that being said, find your balance. Peace.